It was like, oh my God, I'm fighting this legend or fighting this great guy. It's like, oh, I'm just fighting another fighter. In my mind, I'm like, damn, I rocked him already. Is it what, second, third round, third round? Like, dang.
Imagine being ringside, watching one of the fastest, most explosive champions in boxing history, suddenly looking small, confused, and completely shut down for 24 straight rounds. That's exactly what happened to Sugar Shane Mosley when he ran into a man nobody wanted to fight. Ronald Winky Wright. 2 fights, 8 months apart, both times the same result. A masterclass in frustration that left Mosley himself saying years later, "Most people have no idea what Winky did to me. He was the strongest opponent I ever faced. Stronger than Oscar de la Hoya. Stronger than Floyd Mayweather. Stronger than Manny Pacquiao or Canelo. This isn't just a story of 2 losses. This is a hidden chapter that changed how we look at one of the most exciting champions of the 2000s. Today, in this 10-part deep dive, we're going all the way in from Shane's lightning-fast rise to the night everything changed in Las Vegas, to the rematch that broke him again, to the insane legacy fights that came after, and finally to what these 2 battles against Winky Wright really mean for boxing history. If you love real boxing, raw honesty, and stories the mainstream channels never tell, smash that like button right now and let's get into it. Pomona, California, in the late 80s and early 90s, wasn't exactly a boxing factory, but something special was brewing in a little garage gym run by Jack Mosley. His son Shane wasn't the biggest kid, wasn't the strongest, but man, was he fast. Blindingly fast. From the first day he put gloves on, trainers knew they were watching a freak of nature. Amateur record? 250-16. National Golden Glove champion, Junior Olympics champion. The kid had every trophy you could win before turning pro at 21 in 1993. When Shane turned professional, the lightweight division wasn't ready. His debut year, he was already knocking out grown men with combinations that looked like video game speed. By 1997, just 4 years in, he's fighting for the IBF lightweight title against Philip Holliday in front of 20,000 people. One-sided beatdown. 8 successful defenses follow. John Molina, Jesse James Leja, Golden Johnson, names that used to scare people became highlight reels for Shane. What made him terrifying wasn't just the speed. It was the way he put punches together. Triple jabs into ripping body shots into overhand rights that came from angles you didn't see coming. And the chin? Granite. Guys landed flush and Shane just smiled and fired back twice as hard. Then he did something most lightweights never dare. He moved up to 147 pounds, welterweight, the glamour division. And in June 2000, he gets the biggest fight possible. Oscar de la Hoya, the golden boy, the cash cow of boxing in Los Angeles. Oscar was supposed to dance around this smaller guy and school him. Instead, Shane chased him down for 12 rounds, outworked him, outpunched him, and took a split decision that shocked the world. 2 years later, he beats Oscar again, this time unanimous. Suddenly, Sugar, Shane Mosley isn't just a champion. He's a guy everyone is calling the best pound-for-pound fighter on the planet. He jumps to 154 pounds and beats guys like Raul Marquez and wins another belt. 3-weight world champion before the age of 32. The resume is insane. The future looks limitless. Everyone is asking, who can even touch this guy? The answer was waiting quietly in Florida, training in near obscurity, avoided by every big name in the division. A tall, awkward southpaw with a guard like a turtle shell and a jab that felt like a telephone pole. His name was Ronald Winky Wright, and he was about to change everything. While Shane was collecting belts and magazine covers, Winky Wright was a guy promoters called the human red light, as in, career stops here. Wright turned pro in 1990, fought all over Europe just to get ring time, because American promoters didn't want to risk their prospect against him. He wins the USBA title, then the NAF, then the IBF Eliminator, and still nobody wants to smoke. Why? Because Winky didn't knock people out flashy. He broke their hearts. His style was pure suffocation. Shoulders rolled, elbows tight, gloves glued to the temples, chin tucked, eyes peeking over the top like a tank commander. You throw 50 punches, maybe 8 land, and 7 of them hit forearm. Then he steps forward and pops you with a jab that feels like getting hit with a 2x4. His jab wasn't just a rangefinder. It was a weapon of mass destruction. Long, stiff, accurate, thrown 80 to 100 times a fight. And because he was southpaw, right-handed fighters had to completely rewire their muscle memory. Fighters hated it. Managers hated it. Promoters hated it. So Winky kept winning, kept getting ignored, and kept waiting. By 2004, he finally gets his shot at the big stage against a man everyone thought was untouchable, Shane Mosley. The fight is for the undisputed Super Welterweight Championship. Shane is minus 500 favorite. Experts say his speed will be too much. Fans say Winky has never faced anyone on Shane's level. They were all wrong. Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas. 12,000 fans. HBO PPV. The atmosphere is electric because everyone expects fireworks. Round 1. Shane comes out blazing, throwing combinations like the old days. But something looks off. Every time he steps in, there's this long, straight pole in his face. Winky's jab. Pop, pop, pop. Round 2. Shane tries to slip inside. Winky ties him up, leans on him, makes him carry 170 pounds of dead weight. Shane's face starts showing frustration. Round 4. You can actually see the moment Shane realizes this isn't working. His hands drop a little. His eyes widen. Winky starts walking him down now, jabbing, then landing that straight left that snaps Shane's head back like a Pez dispenser. Round 6 to 9 become a horror movie for Mosley fans. Shane is swinging at air, hitting gloves, elbows, shoulders. Winky is barely breathing hard, just marching forward, picking him apart. Final bell. No drama. Scores. 117 to 111 across the board. Unanimous decision. New undisputed champion, Ronald Winky Wright. Shane looks like he just saw a ghost in the post-fight interview. The Trinidad mega fight that was already signed? Gone. Millions of dollars? Gone. Aura of invincibility? Shattered. But the story doesn't end there 8 months later. Same venue. Rematch clause activated. Shane has spent every day in the gym trying to solve the puzzle. This time he's cutting off the ring better, working the body, throwing short hooks inside. For the first time in 2 fights, it's competitive. Real exchanges. Real drama. Shane actually wins some rounds on the cards. But Winky is ice cold. Every time Shane gets something going, Winky adjusts, tightens guard, counters, clinches, leans, slows the pace. Round 10, 11, 12, absolute war. Both men exhausted. Final bell rings and nobody knows who won. Scores come back. 114 to 114, 115 to 113, 115-113. Majority decision, still Winky Wright. Shane drops to 0-2 against a man nobody else wanted to fight. First back-to-back losses of his entire career. In the locker room afterward, Shane tells his team something that still echoes today. That dude is the strongest fighter I ever fought. Not power or strength. He's just different. Walking out of Mandalay Bay in November 2004, Shane Mosley wasn't just a 2-time loser to the same man. He was a myth that had just been cracked wide open. Think about where he was in 2000. Back-to-back wins over the Golden Boy, pound-for-pound list, magazine covers, the face of American boxing. By 2004, he was supposed to clean out 154 pounds and set up a $15 to $20 million payday with Felix Trinidad. That fight was already signed. Contracts were inked. Promotional tours were scheduled. All of it vanished in 24 rounds. The financial hit was brutal, but the psychological one was worse. For the first time in his life, Shane had to read headlines asking, "Is Sugar Shane finished at 33? Forums were savage. People who swore he was the next Roy Jones were now calling him exposed. But something else happened that almost nobody talks about. The respect skyrocketed. While other champions were fighting cab drivers and European journeymen, Shane had just fought the single most avoided fighter on the planet twice in the same year. No mandatory, no politics, no catchweight. Straight up, twice. And he took the L both times like a man. That's warrior shit. Winky, on the other hand, finally got the spotlight he spent 14 years chasing. The Trinidad fight that was supposed to be Shane's became Winky's. And in May 2005, he beat Trinidad so decisively that Tito retired on the stool. One of the biggest names in the sport, sent into permanent retirement by the guy nobody wanted to fight. That's poetic justice. Shane had to rebuild. And the way he chose to rebuild is one of the most insane second acts in boxing history. 2007 to 2009 might be the gutsiest three-fight run any former champion has ever put together. First, November 2007, prime Miguel Cotto at Madison Square Garden. Cotto is 30-0, destructive body puncher, the new Puerto Rican superstar. Shane is 35, coming off 2 losses, written off by many. What does he do? He boxes the fight of his life. Beautiful counterpunching, footwork, angles. He loses a close unanimous decision, but every judge had a competitive, and the boxing world stood up and said, wait, Shane still has it. Then January 2009, Antonio Margarito. The same Margarito who just destroyed Cotto. Loaded rap scandal breaks the week of the fight. Shane knocks him out in 9 rounds in one of the most satisfying moments in boxing history. The man who was supposed to be shot just starched the most feared welterweight on the planet. Redemption arc complete. 16 months later, May 1st, 2010, Floyd Mayweather Jr. Shane is 38, plus 600 underdog. Round 2, boom, a right hand from hell buckles Floyd's knees. For 15 seconds, the entire MGM Grand loses its mind. Floyd recovers, boxes brilliantly, wins wide, but that punch lives forever. Only 3 men ever truly hurt Floyd Mayweather. Jose Luis Castillo, Shane Mosley, and Maidana. Shane did it at 38 years old, after everyone buried him. Insane. Manny Pacquiao is at absolute peak destruction mode. Just knocked out Cotto, Margarito, Clottey back-to-back. Who steps up? 39-year-old Shane Mosley. He gets outworked, loses every round, but survives 12 against the most dangerous offensive fighter of the era. Most guys in their 20s were scared to sign. Shane signed at 39. That a 40-year-old Shane fights 21-year-old Canelo Alvarez in Cinco de Mayo weekend. Canelo is already the next big Mexican superstar. Shane spends 12 rounds trying to take his head off, eats some vicious counters, but never stops coming forward. He loses clearly, but again, who else was doing that at 40? For fights in 5 years against Cotto, Margarito, Mayweather, Pacquiao, Canelo. That's 5 all-time greats or future Hall of Famers. Most fighters avoid one of those names in their entire prime. Shane fought all of them after the age of 35, after the world wrote him off. That's not a resume. That's a monument. In multiple interviews after retirement, on podcasts, on the Joe Rogan Experience, in sit-downs with Atlas and Bernstein, Shane always says the exact same thing when Winky's name comes up. People think I'm talking about power. I'm not. Winky was the strongest human being I ever shared a ring with. Not Oscar, not Vargas, not Mayweather, not Pacquiao, not Canelo. Winky. The way he could lean on you, hold you, make you carry his weight, push you back with that jab. Nobody did that to me. Ever. He even said the 2 Wright fights took something out of him mentally that he never fully recovered from. That's a hell of a statement from a guy who fought everybody. Open any top 10 most underrated fighters, list written by real boxing heads, and you'll see the same name in the top 3 every single time. Ronald Winky Wright. June 1st, 51. Never knocked out, never even dropped. Unified super welterweight champion. Beat Shane Mosley twice. Destroyed Felix Trinidad so badly that Trinidad retired on the stool, outboxed prime Mike Carty. Gave 25-year-old Jermaine Taylor absolute hell in 2006, and took Bernard Hopkins a distance at middleweight on late notice. That's a Hall of Fame resume by any objective measure. Yet walk up to the average fight fan today, and half of them will say, Winky who? Why? Because Winky never gave the public what it craves, knockouts and drama. He gave frustration, domination, and masterclasses that made superstars look like amateurs. Promoters hated booking him. Fighters ducked him for years. Even after he became undisputed champion, HBO and Showtime barely promoted him because he doesn't sell excitement. Winky's style was anti-highlight reel. turtle shell guard, 90-plus jabs a fight, suffocating clinch work, and the ability to make anyone look slow and lost for 12 rounds. He didn't chase knockouts. He chased perfection. And the craziest part? He did all of this while fighting with one hand for half his career, a torn rotator cuff in his left shoulder that he never got surgery on because he couldn't afford to take time off. His trainer Dan Birmingham confirmed it years later. That straight left you saw? He was throwing it at maybe 60% power because of the injury. Imagine Prime Winky with 2 healthy arms. Scary. He finally hung them up in 2012 after the Paul Williams loss. No farewell tour, no mega payday, no ceremony. Just quietly walked away as one of the best to ever do it, who never got his flowers while he was active. Today, hardcore fans and fighters themselves still put him on the pound-for-pound pedestal he deserved 20 years ago. If social media had existed in 2004 and 2006, Winky Wright would be talked about the same way we talk about Prime Rigondeaux, Prime Pernell Whitaker, or Prime Andre Ward. He's the ultimate boxer's boxer, the one the fighters respected, but the public never embraced. Let's answer a question everyone still argues about in 2025. Did Winky Wright break Shane Mosley? Short answer, yes and no. Yes, he broke the myth. Before March 2004, Shane was seen as untouchable, the fastest hands in boxing, 3-division champion, the guy who beat De La Hoya twice. After 24 rounds against Winky, the world saw something new. A Shane Mosley who could be controlled, neutralized, and physically dominated by strength and discipline. Those 2 fights expose that even elite hand speed has a kryptonite when it meets a bigger, stronger, technically perfect stylist. But did he break the man? Absolutely not. Because what Shane did after those losses is one of the wildest, most warrior-like second acts in boxing history. At an age when most fighters are cashing out or retiring, Shane went full gladiator. Fought Prime Miguel Cotto in a war and nearly stole it, knocked out Antonio Margarito after the loaded rap scandal rocked Floyd Mayweather in round 2, when only 3 men to ever truly hurt Floyd stepped in with peak Manny Pacquiao at 39, fought 21-year-old Canelo Alvarez at 40, named another former champion, who took that level of smoke after being exposed. There isn't one. Winky took the shine off the invincible version of Shane, but in doing so, he forced Shane to become something even greater. The ultimate anybody, anytime warrior who refused to duck or disappear. So the real legacy of those 2 fights isn't that Winky broke Shane. It's that Winky forced Shane to evolve into a legend built on courage instead of just speed. And that's why, 20 years later, both men are respected in completely different ways. Winky as the quiet assassin who was never beaten fairly, and Shane as a throwback warrior who kept getting up no matter how many times he was counted out. 2 defensive geniuses with insane jabs. Probably most boring 12 rounds ever. But shockers used barely edges at 115-113. Jaron Boots Ennis. This is a one modern welter/junior middle who might actually crack the code with his length, jab, and inside fighting. 55-45 Boots, but it's a brutal education. David Benavidez at 168. Too big, too strong, too relentless on the inside. Winky's style starts breaking down after round 8. First real L for Prime Winky in this era. And the craziest one, imagine Winky Wright versus Prime Canelo Alvarez in 2019 to 2021. Mexican style versus ultimate anti-Mexican style. Canelo wins late stoppage, but only after eating 400 jabs and looking mortal for the first time in years. Bottom line, we don't have a single active fighter today who fights exactly like Winky. The closest is maybe a mix of Andre Ward's inside game plus Rigondeaux' jab plus Pernell Whitaker's angles. That fighter doesn't exist anymore, and the sport is worse for it. Shane Mosley, 54 years old, living in Southern California, still shredded, still sparring young pros just to stay sharp. Runs Lux Training Lab. Trains fighters, does cameos, podcasts, and occasionally commentates. Net worth estimated north of $25 million. Inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2020, first ballot, no debate. Still gets stopped for photos everywhere he goes. He's at peace with the Winky losses. In his 2024 interview with Fight Hype, he said, "I needed those 2 fights. They made me the man I am today." I'd rather lose to Winky twice than duck him and wonder forever. Winky Wright, 53 years old, Sarasota, Florida, runs a boxing gym, trains amateurs, stays completely out of the spotlight. You'll never see him on Instagram doing reels or chasing clout. Still has that same quiet, humble energy. He finally got inducted into the IBHOF in 2018 after years of being snubbed politics. When asked about Shane in 2023, he simply said, "Shane's a warrior. I got nothing but respect. We both needed each other to be great. Neither man ever trashed the other. No excuses, no bitterness. Just two legends who know exactly how rare their two fights were." And the final kicker? In 2022, Shane flew to Florida unannounced, walked into Winky's gym, and they embraced on camera for the first time in 18 years. No beef, no drama, just two old kings laughing about how they beat the hell out of each other for 24 rounds. That clip has 8 million views on YouTube. That's closure. That's respect. That's boxing. If you take one thing from this entire documentary, let it be this: styles make fights. Courage makes legends. On paper, Shane Mosley had every tool to destroy Winky Wright. Faster hands, explosive power, championship experience, athletic prime. But for 24 rounds across 2 nights in 2004, a disciplined, awkward, physically imposing defensive genius made all of that irrelevant. And when Shane could have retired, made excuses, or fought cab drivers for the rest of his career, he did the opposite. He signed to fight 5 future Hall of Famers in the last chapter of his career just to prove he still belonged. That's the beauty of the story. Winky Wright showed the world that you don't need knockouts to dominate. You just need to be unbreakable. Shane Mosley showed the world that Real warriors don't hide from their worst nights. They use them as fuel. 2 men, 2 completely different legacies, one unforgettable rivalry that still doesn't get talked about enough in 2025. So next time someone says he's avoided, or that style is boring, remember Winky Wright, the king who ruled without ever needing the spotlight. And next time someone says a fighter is done after a bad loss, remember Sugar Shane Mosley, the warrior who answered every doubter by fighting monsters until the very end. Drop your final verdict in the comments. Who won the legacy battle, Shane or Winky? And which modern fighter needs Winky's jab in their life right now? If you watched all 10 parts and this conclusion, you're a real one. Hit that like button, subscribe, turn on the bell. We drop hour-long boxing documentaries like this every week. This is the deep boxing content the algorithms don't push. Thank you for coming on this journey with me. Until the next one, keep it real, keep it boxing,